What is up, biker bros? This is Nathan from the Gen Z Biker Blog, and I'm here today at IMS Ocala to show you guys my top 3 favorite beginner motorcycles here at the show today, ranging from the automatic 1100 Honda Rebel with a DCT to the Royal Enfield Himalayan coming in at just $5,000, to the more premium exclusive Triumph Trident 660. All of these motorcycles come in under $10,000. And I know from when I first started riding at 18 years old, it was really hard and difficult for me. I felt overwhelmed to pick my first motorcycle just because there were so many different options out there. But nevertheless, let's get into the video and I'll show you my top 3 favorite beginner motorcycles here at the show. Now here we have the Triumph Trident 660. Now this is a bike that I didn't know much about prior to the show, but in talking with the marketing director for Triumph, I learned a couple things about this bike. First and foremost, it comes in right at that $8,500 MSRP mark just about. So it really truly is kind of an entry-level Triumph sport bike that'll be able to get you into the Triumph motorcycle lineup a little bit more affordably than some of their more full-fledged sport bikes or adventure touring motorcycles. Now for a newer motorcycle rider that is just getting into the sport of riding, you may look at this bike and say, wow, that it looks like a faster bike. But one of the nice things about the Triumph Trident is that it does have power modes. So you've got a rain mode and a standard street riding mode. So for a newer rider that doesn't quite have that throttle control yet, you can certainly put it in rain mode, and that'll definitely reduce the throttle response of the Trident so that you can kind of grow more accustomed to this bike. Not everyone wants to start on a cruiser or a smaller, like an R3 or something. They want something they can grow into. This is going to be a fantastic option for that person that wants to grow into their motorcycle. Now I'm sure many of you are wondering, well, what does a stock Triumph Trident sound like? If you've never ridden a triple, you should definitely put it on your motorcycle bucket list because this bike sounds absolutely freaking amazing, entirely stock. We'll start it up here just so you can see what it sounds like. Nothing better than the sound of a stock triple. In my opinion, this sounds absolutely fantastic. What do you think? Now for just about $8.5 grand, the Triumph Trident is giving you loads and loads of technology, which you don't often find in a bike within this price range. For example, on the Triumph Trident, you are getting ABS, you are getting a TFT dash, you are getting LED headlight and turn signals, which are self-canceling, by the way, and you're also getting power modes. Like I said, that rain mode and that street general riding mode. I also look at this as a great option for someone like myself that's been riding for 5 years and wants to upgrade from my Kawasaki 650. But that being said, let me know in the comments below what you think of the Triumph Trident and whether or not it is something that you might be looking to pick up in the near future as well. Also, if you like this bike and you want to see more content specifically in regards to this, a ride and review, make sure to check out in the link above my full IMS impression video on this bike when I take it out for a demo ride. I would say the one caveat to the Triumph Trident 660 is that if you are a shorter rider, 5'2", 5'3", 5'5", you may have a little bit of trouble flat-footing this bike. I'm just about 6 feet tall with my boots on, and when I sit on this bike, I'm able to flat-foot it, but certainly a shorter rider may have a little bit of trouble or potentially be tiptoeing at the stoplights. So just be cognizant of that. Make sure to sit on the bike before you buy it. And that goes for all brands, guys. And this is more, as you can see, of an upright kind of sport riding position as opposed to a full-fledged sport bike when you're in a lean. So a bike like this, you're going to be able to do more comfortable, mid to long range rides without, getting that fatigue in your lower back and in your hips. Now here we've got the Royal Enfield Himalayan coming in at just about $4,999. This is a fantastic budget-friendly option for those new motorcyclists that are looking to join the sport. at a very manageable sized engine point. So this is a 411cc engine, so you're not going to find yourself accidentally whiskey throttling that bike. It's going to be a very manageable starter motorcycle, and especially because of the fact that it's such a versatile motorcycle, you can do so many different things with this bike. Obviously, it's an adventure touring motorcycle, so you can do some light duty off-roading. You can, do to and from work and school type of deal. It does have the option to, put the windscreen and the bags on the back, so you can do some longer distance trips. Unfortunately, it does not have cruise control, which is something I'd like to see from the Himalayan in the future. But it's able to get you from point A to point B, although it may not be very fast. That's not really the point of this motorcycle. It's truly a purpose-driven motorcycle. You're getting about 75 miles to the gallon on this 4-gallon gas tank. Economically speaking, it's a very affordable bike in terms of the MSRP out the door, but also in terms of the cost of upkeep and whatnot. I believe it does have a 2-year unlimited mile warranty on it as well. Now, when it came to me test riding the Himalayan, I found myself fairly comfortable cruising at about 65-70 miles an hour, so I definitely can attest to the fact that you would be able to do some light duty highway riding on this. Not necessarily across the world, but you will be relatively comfortable doing some light duty highway cruising. If it were me owning this bike, I could see myself, making it somewhat of a grocery getter, strapping my backpack onto the back, utilizing those hard bags on there, and really just putting this bike to its full potential and use. For someone like myself that's 24 years old, that maybe, is just starting out of college, or maybe still in college, that has a small chunk of change but doesn't necessarily want to purchase a car, this is a fantastic option. And like I said, a budget-friendly one that is going to be relatively satisfying and pleasing. You're going to get on this bike, throw that leg over, and you're going to say to yourself, wow, I'm pleasantly pleased by this bike. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's certainly a bike that you'll be pleasantly pleased by. And for those of you that are looking to get into the motorcycle racing scene, Royal Enfield is actually already using the Himalayan, a stripped down version of it, for flat track racing. So if you're looking to learn how to flat track race, that's something that you could even do with this bike for relatively cheap. Now, when it comes to the motorcycle riding community, the Royal Enfield Himalayan has such a cult following that those of you that are, getting into the motorcycling, sport of motorcycling and riding community, that are worried about finding people to ride with, this is definitely the bike for you, because you're definitely going to have that cult Himalayan community that you can ride with and, grow accustomed to and become friends with a bunch of awesome people. Now, when it comes to, the rider triangle and ride height of the Himalayan, I would say that this bike is going to be for your average height to, taller riders. It's certainly, I'm 6 feet tall with my motorcycle boots on, about 190 pounds. I sit comfortably on this motorcycle. I'm able to flat foot it. For someone that, maybe was a little bit shorter, you may not be able to flat foot it. You may be tippy-toeing at stoplights. But overall, I fit very well on this bike, and I would highly recommend it for, 5, 6 to 6 foot plus size people. So next to me here we have the all-new Rebel 1100 DCT. This is an automatic motorcycle. Now behind me here we do have its little brother, the Rebel 500. They also do have a Rebel 300, but today we're going to be focusing on the 1100 with the DCT. I like this bike as a beginner option, or an entry-level motorcycle option, because of the fact that it's got an automatic transmission and it is a cruiser. For those of you that might be interested in learning how to ride a motorcycle, but are a little bit nervous about learning how to shift through that transmission and utilize the clutch, or potentially have a disability where you can't, utilize your left hand or, your left foot, this is a fantastic option for you. Now, overall, I like this motorcycle also because of the fact that it's got power modes. You've got your rain mode, your custom mode, your street mode, and then your sport mode. So for an entry-level rider that doesn't quite have that throttle control yet, you're going to want to start off in that rain mode, which is going to limit the power a little bit in the throttle response, so that you don't have, run into any issues when it comes to, taking off from a stoplight or moving the bike and potentially, accidentally yanking that throttle. Now it does also have the option to manually shift through those gears, clutchless at least, if you want to start to get an understanding of how the RPMs on that engine work throughout the different gears. Now I'm just about 6 feet tall with my motorcycle boots on. As you can see, I'm able to relatively easily flat foot this motorcycle. Now if you were, 5'2", 5'3", you will definitely also be able to flat foot this bike because it's got such a low seat height. Great for entry-level riders that are maybe looking to be able to flat foot the bike, feel a little bit more comfortable at a stoplight. Now coming in just under $10,000, the Rebel 1100 DCT does come with cruise control. Now at this price range, for a cruiser like this, you don't oftentimes find motorcycles with cruise control, which is another reason why this bike is such a great option. It's a very versatile bike. You can do your around town riding, but you can also, do a longer distance, highway trip with that cruise control, especially if you were to throw on a windscreen. Also, a huge shout out to Progressive International Motorcycle Shows for making this video possible and giving me a press pass to come out here and ride awesome motorcycles such as this Royal Enfield Himalayan right here.